So a while ago, I posted this video about the Tubbyland archives, and in the intro, I mentioned the game Slendytubbies. More so, I mentioned that I didn't really find the game scary, and this caused some people to get a little mad at me because I wasn't scared by the game and I thought it was bad. Many people commented that I was wrong about Slendytubbies and it's actually a masterpiece and that it's peak gaming. And to that, I'm gonna have to call a load of bull. I've decided to take it upon myself to go through all the important Slendytubby games, being 1, 2, and 3. And I'm gonna cover them all in this video. Yeah, that's right. All the games in one video. So I think it goes without saying that this is gonna be a pretty long one. But I hope it's all worth it because I don't really want to have played these games for nothing. I also just want to mention that I'm not trying to come off as mean to the people that actually enjoy Slendytubbies. I just saw this as a good chance at a video. So please don't think that I'm trying to shit on you guys for enjoying a game. Enjoy what you want. But with all that being said, you might want to prepare yourself for this one as we take a look into the entire Slendytubbies series. Now before I actually begin with the first Slendytubbies game, I just want to quickly mention how hard it was for me to actually find the game in the first place. So on the official website where you actually get the games from, they have the download link for the second and third game, but the first one was missing. I thought that maybe this was because the creator posted it on another site, so I went looking around for it, but all I could find were re-uploads that had only about 2 to 12 followers, and because of that, I was kind of scared to download any of them because, well, what if they turned out to be a virus? I decided to download one, and luckily I came out with no viruses, but I still kind of would have liked it if the first game was on the official page. So here we are in Slendytubbies 1, and right off the bat, this game doesn't look very promising. First we see Tinky Winky T-posing next to a fire and a bowl of custard in this bland forest area with nothing in sight. My favorite part about this menu is the fact that you can see the sky grid. Proceeding to click single player, we choose our scary levels, aka either playing in the day, the afternoon, or night. Well, I'm a gamer, so I decided to go into the scariest mode. Loading in, you get a massive text in a very spooky font telling you to collect 10 Teletubby custards. The entire premise of the game is to roam around this forest area and find 10 custards while something is hunting you. Except the catch is, there is nothing hunting me. At no point playing this game did I feel like I was in danger because I never saw whatever was meant to be chasing me. There were moments where something would flash up on the screen and they only scared me because they're cheap jump scares, like anyone's gonna get scared by them. But besides them, there was real no threat in sight. Nothing in this game felt like I was gonna have to restart because I don't think anything in this game can kill me. Around the map, you can find standout locations such as the Tubby Dome where Nunu is absolutely busting a fat groove, a beach where you can find Lala, deceased, and a tree where you can find Poe. Yeah, again, I'm not showing this one. Out of all that though, that's basically the whole game. There is really not much else to say about this game. It's not scary because I never felt in danger, and the only times I got scared were from cheap sudden flashes. Why not? The landscape is really empty with only a couple signature locations scattered around it, and when you finally collect all the custards, you're just instantly brought to this screen. And the gameplay, I can't really talk about the gameplay because all it is just walk around and collect custards. So on the Jden scale, I'm gonna have to give it my lowest rating yet, which is a 1 out of 10. I cannot find a single redeeming thing about this game. It's not scary, there's no threat, the environment is bland, there's no story to it, which I mean, I don't think Slender Man had a major story to follow, so I can't really get too mad. But let's hope that the second game turns things around and makes things just a little better. Slendytubbies 2 doesn't really divert too far from the first game. It's still the same walk around the map and pick up custards game, except this time you get to choose how much custards you want to collect, with the default being 15, which I played for each map. You also get given a night vision camera that you can zoom into to get a better view of things. Now the main difference between the second and the first game is that the second game has a lot more different modes to play. They don't really change anything though, besides the map and the monster you go against. The first map is some sewer looking thing, but apparently it's a secret lair. There are these grey Teletubbies that scream the second they see you and they don't shut up. What the fuck? Stop. Oh. Yeah, I didn't really care about this map. The next map has a headless Dipsy chasing after you with a chainsaw. Surprisingly, I actually really like this map because it's not a big open area where you can get lost easily. It's actually a well thought out environment. The next map is open again. We're meant to be going up against Dipsy again, but this time with a head. I don't know where they got the head from, but pop off, I guess. Also, not important, it's pretty important. I broke out of the map in about 2 seconds. Next is another map inside some space lab looking thing with Poe, who looks oddly like a slasher from Dead Space. That's probably due to the fact that the model is the slasher. In fact, every enemy besides the grey Teletubbies are all models from the other games. Dipsy's model with the head is from Resident Evil, Poe is from Dead Space, Tinky Winky is the tank from Left 4 Dead 2, and I don't really know about Lala, but I assume that this model was not made by ZeoWorks. Back to Poe's map, I actually don't mind it because it's not easy to get lost in, although now knowing that all the models aren't actually from the creator, maybe this map isn't theirs either, so I can't really give it that much credit if it's not. Next is Tinky Winky, who resides in a remodified version of the original map from the first game, although just like in the first game, I never saw him. I think the map is actually just too big for the monsters to even find me. There is also a training maze map, which I skipped because of the grey Teletubbies, and I was just not down for that. At that point, I was just done with the game. But finally though, the best map of them all, Tubbycraft. Oh, they're stuck. On the Jden scale, I'm gonna have to give this game a 4 out of 10. It's basically just the first game, except it has different maps which are either hit or miss, and sometimes actually has an enemy that chases after you. The graphics also look better in this game. The monsters look pretty good, but that is because they were ripped from other games. But the best point of all, it's got the Minecraft map, so that's probably the biggest thing going for it. But I'm still not really hooked onto the series. The second game was okay-ish, but that doesn't justify the crappy mess this game is. But maybe. The third game blows all the other games out of the water. Enter Slendytubbies 3 was the one I was most excited for, because unlike the other games being about walking around and collecting stuff, the gameplay style in the third game looks completely different, and it also has a full storyline attached to it. And for me, a good storyline can really bring a game together. So let's see what this game has in store for us. First, we get a little bit of text explaining that Teletubbies are created from a machine, and one particular Teletubby called the Guardian Teletubby, who you play as, was specifically designed to monitor a group of 4 test subjects, which are the main Teletubbies from the show. You start off as Poe, who's looking out onto the ocean view, when Nunu comes up behind us, asking what we're doing. They tell us to go back inside and get some food, so we head back home. We then get greeted by the other 3 Teletubbies, who are all very hungry for some tubby custard. As we are preparing the custard, the machine breaks down, so we need to find a toolbox to fix it. The toolbox is on the other side of the dome, and I think this is probably a good point to mention that the game's camera positioning goes for more of a Silent Hill style, with the camera more so stalking the player rather than actually being attached to them. It seems like a really cool thing to do, but this game does it really weirdly. I don't know, something about the camera panning from one spot to the next instead of just snapping there instantly really throws me off guard and like screws up my orientation a lot. And during this game, the camera really did get on my nerves at some point. What is my cam? Okay. Alright. Okay. Anyway, after getting the toolbox, you fix the custard machine and bring everyone their custard, and after that, everyone decides to go to sleep. But you wake up to the sound of Tinky Winky breaking the custard machine. Poe tries to get Tinky Winky to come back to bed, but he leaves the building. You can either choose to wake up the others to find Tinky Winky or go look for him by yourself. Now, in this game, you can make choices which change the outcome of the story, but I'm going to be 100% honest, I am not going through this whole game again just so I can get to different choices. So this review is going to be more about the path that I chose. I chose to wake up the others, but only Lala decides to go along with you, while Dipsy stays at the dome in case Tinky Winky comes back. With Lala, you begin your search and end up splitting off to cover more ground. Not being able to find anything in your search, you head back down to the lake to catch up with Lala. But when we get there, we find Tinky Winky standing there with Lala dead on the floor. I don't know why, but this single image here just... I don't know why, but I thought that this single image here was the funniest thing ever. Purely because you could just slightly see Lala's dead body off to the side of the screen. Call me a bad person, but I laughed when I saw that. Anyway, we try to talk to Tinky Winky, but they turn around to reveal their very spooky face paired with a stock scream sound effect. I guess this part is meant to be scary, but maybe not to people over the age of 4. So, in fright, we run back to the house, but we find Dipsy, who has been decapitated at the house. We turn around and Tinky Winky is standing right behind us, so we now need to run away, and we get a quick time event segment. Yeah, this area kinda sucks. My favorite part about this segment is when we come across this log on the ground, and Poe just kinda Superman front flips over it. Like, don't even lie, this has gotta be the biggest hop you've ever seen. Also, this part, which has no purpose in being here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Poe straight up farts and turns around to check it. Why am I slowing down? Did I just shit my pants? Then you see Tinky Winky in front of you, and this part's just absolutely goofy because he just stands in the middle of the path and you just walk around him. What a scary monster this is. Suddenly a big tree falls down and diverts us off the path, where we then run into a smaller tree that we decide not to run around, which leads to our death. If I could literally run around the thing that is chasing us, why couldn't I run around this very small obstacle? We enter chapter 1, where we now take the role of our main character, the Guardian Teletubby, who watched everything happen on the cameras. After completing a small little pipe puzzle, you gain access to the control room, where you can open up the storage and get the night vision camera. Picking up your camera brings you into first person mode, but then suddenly the power shuts off, and we see odd grey Teletubbies walk out of the hall. You need to get to the exit without getting caught by these things, which is honestly pretty easy to do because all you need is to just hide behind a crate if one is coming towards you and then bolt to the exit. And now we are brought back to the original gameplay style of picking up custards in an open field, except this time we actually get told where the custards are. After collecting them all and seeing the aftermath of the incident, we approach Tinky Winky on the beach, who consumes the final custard and turns into the tank again. When turning away, you get given a chance on either going into the caves or the mountains. I decided to run up to the mountains because it was the closest one, which enters us into chapter 2 in the mountains. Entering chapter 2 in the mountains, we proceed on our journey until we run into a Yeti who plans on eating us. But instead of actually eating us straight away, he just kind of leaves us alone with only his robot slave to make sure we don't leave. And his robot slave sucks ass at his job because instead of actually trying to stop us, he just kind of lets us run away and tells us that we're going to be in trouble. So we just kind of walk away, and now the Yeti knows that we're gone and we have to get away as fast as we can. We need to play this cool little mini game where we need to listen to which direction the Yeti is yelling at and run in the opposite direction. It's not a hard game, but it's something different which I can appreciate. We come upon a gate that's locked with a chain. In this shack next to us we find a pipe and we use it to break the chain off the gate. Making our way through the gate, we enter the outskirts. The place I came to realize the footstep sounds aren't correct. I'm clearly walking on stone in this shot, but the sound is me walking on grass. The footstep sounds are wrong. This is stone. Anyway, we come to this area and find more custards that we need to pick up, but Lala is around to stop us. The game makes it sound like Lala is a blind enemy, so she needs to use our footsteps to find us. Or at least that's how it's supposed to work, I'm pretty sure. Lala is blind, so that means that she shouldn't be able to just know where we are at all times. But Lala's AI still gravitates towards our area. It's okay though, because Lala never actually starts chasing you, she just kinda lurks towards us, meaning all we need to do is run and we're just safe. After we collect all the custards, we decide to continue on our path, but Lala is blocking the way. Now, here I would think that I could just walk around her to the exit, but there are these invisible walls around which force us to stay in this area. There's also this clearly open exit on the side here, but there's also an invisible wall there. How hard would it have been to just put a brick wall there so you couldn't go that way. What you're actually meant to do in this area is collect a rock from this pile here and throw it at the pillars above Lala, which causes a sound that lures Lala to attack the pillar and break it down on top of her. We then make our way to the satellite station to try and find some help. You do a little lever puzzle to open the door and enter inside, leading into the last chapter. And this is where the game begins to take a turn away from its horror theme. I'll get into that pretty soon. Inside the station, you find multiple dead bodies, meaning something is in here with us. We meet Ron, who is the only living being left in the station, who says that a green Teletubby with no head and a chainsaw came in and started killing everyone. Ron tells us to go find a keycard to access the secret center, where we can then send a distress signal to the military, because the Teletubbies need a military, I guess. We crawl through the vents, and once we reach the other side, we hear Dipsy kill Ron with a chainsaw. We don't really care, we've got to get this keycard. On our way, we see visions of the Teletubbies, which doesn't really serve anything other than to try and be scary. It isn't. We get the keycard and head back through the vent, where we see Ron's body turned into an Among Us character. On our way back to the secret center, we see Dipsy, who revs up his chainsaw and proceeds to chase us all the way back to the start, where he steps on a laser and literally explodes. At first I was caught off guard, but then I instantly stopped caring because I picked up a chainsaw, and that was pretty cool. We make our way back to the secret center, and instead of going the obvious way, I like to adventure. So I ran up this little area and jumped down, and... Alright. Hey Nunu. What's going on, Nunu? Okay. Can't interact with him. Yeah, I don't think I'm meant to be here. Finally, after figuring out how to trigger the cutscene, we find out that Nunu, of all people, was the one who put a virus into the custard machine, which turned everyone into monsters. He then tells us that it is our turn to consume the virus, but instead of giving us the virus, he pulls out a Metal Gear Rising boss fight. Now I'm gonna be honest here, I really like this part of the game. The combat may not be that fleshed out, but it's pretty good. You've got basic attacks, blocking, rolling, a stamina bar, all the real necessities you need for a boss fight, and I genuinely had fun fighting this thing. But I also thought to myself, this is meant to be a horror game, not Dark Souls easy mode. As much fun as I had fighting this boss, I couldn't stop thinking about why this fight is even here. Horror games can have boss fights for sure, and those boss fights can be well done, but they shouldn't be in the style of The Surge. After beating the boss, you follow Nunu outside, who then says that he underestimated you, and he wants you to join him in taking over the world. Now, unlike all the other choices we were given in this game, I did both the good and the bad ending. The bad ending is joining forces with Nunu and consuming the custard to become a reborn like the others. Honestly, I'm gonna have to give props to the dev for actually letting you do this. Most games force you to do the good hero thing, so it was actually really nice to see the option to be the bad guy in this game. The good ending, however, brings you to a boss fight where you have to defeat Poe. Again, pretty awesome boss fight. It shouldn't be in a horror game, it just doesn't fit. Anyways, after beating Poe, we walk up to Nunu and absolutely game end him with the chainsaw. Then the military shows up, which confuses me because yeah, we were meant to send that distress signal to them. I don't actually remember us doing that. Anyway, when the military lands, we let them know what happened until someone comes over to show us something that they found. As we make our way up the hill, we see a horde of newborns marching along to some place, and then the game ends. Now yes, this is a cliffhanger, but the story does actually continue in the multiplayer.
The only cave monster I see is your mom!
But after lots of thought about it, and I mean lots of thought, I've decided not to play the multiplayer and DLC, at least in this video. So I'm sorry for all the people that wanted me to play those last two games. Maybe if enough people want me to, or this video gets enough support, hit that like and subscribe button, I'll do the last two. Putting the third game on the Jayden scale, I'll have to give it a 5 out of 10. The switch in gameplay was really nice and refreshing, and it did have some redeeming features, like the puzzles and the boss fights, but the puzzles were pretty easy and the boss fights shouldn't have been there in the first place. The camera feels really wacky at times and it really threw me off. It's still not scary game, but hey, at least it got rid of those annoying flash jump scares. Is that just the whole lost skybox?
The fuck was that?
All in all, I do agree that the third game is the better one out of them all, because it actually feels like its own game instead of just a Slender Man ripoff. Putting the whole series on the Jayden scale, it's gonna have to be a 4 out of 10. The first game was absolute garbage with nothing redeeming about it, like I just genuinely cannot think of a good thing about that game. The second game, while still being just the first game with different maps and monsters, did some things better, like the cool maps and better graphics. And the third game was probably my favorite because it tried something different and had some cool things to it. I'm sorry for anyone that doesn't like that rating, but that's just how I felt when playing through these games. But if you think the rating could be different, let me know. I love reading people's opinions on the games that I cover, so please don't feel scared to tell me how you feel about the series, if you agree with me or not. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I want to say thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, a like and sub would be greatly appreciated. This channel has genuinely grown so much in such a small amount of time, and I'm so thankful for all the people that enjoyed the videos so far. It genuinely makes me really happy to see that you guys and gals are getting entertained from the videos. It really means the world to me. I don't want to ramble, but I mean, come on. 5K in about 1 month. I cannot stress enough how happy I am about this and how thankful I am for all of you. But enough said. Again, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you stick around for the next one. I hope you've all have had a good morning, evening, or night, whichever it is for you. And I'll catch you later. Bye bye.